All right, jokers, in order to start this intercooler mock-up, we got to make this cut that I'm pointing out here. This is the upper side of bumper support. We have to drill these tabs out, as you can see. Made that cut using a 4.5-inch disc grinder with the thin blade. Then of course, the bracing on this thing here has got 6 spot welds. So as you can tell here, I'm pointing out right where I drilled out the spot welds. And we drill those spot welds out so we can come back with this right here. This is a air hammer with the flat chisel. So I'm taking an air hammer and I'm wedging it in between the bracing and the front bumper support. This took quite a bit of time, but of course the camera makes it look easy. But I spent literally probably like 30 minutes on this. This is a good idea to go ahead and sharpen your flat chisel. This is how I make that happen. Make sure that junk is super sharp. Also make sure you wear eye protection too. And this is the final product. As you can tell, it's all cleaned up, it's all deburred, and it's ready to install. The guy I purchased from had an old lady running to the front of him, so the bumper has this kind of deep recessed bump in it. I seen this on a video and I said, you know what, I'm gonna try it out. So what I'm doing right here is I'm taking my Harbor Freight heat gun. I'm heating that thing up to get the polyurethane soft. Heating up the exterior, trying to somewhat even it out. As you can tell, I'm kind of going around in a circle motion, starting from the outside, working my way in. I'm making points of not damaging the surface of the paint with the heat. I'm using something, this right here is a chalk, I got it from work. I'm using that to kind of push on the backside to kind of bring it back to shape. And then I mean, word up, I don't even know what I'm doing right here. I'm blowing it with some compressed air. My mind thought process is I heat it up, push it down to form it, and then I cool it off so that when it cools off, it'll cool off in the position that I want to stay in as I'm pushing on the back side of it. I'm still working here, working my magic, and believe it or not, it looks better than it did before. Take my word for it. Let's go ahead and start mounting this intercooler. All right, Speed Addicts, you seen front bumper reinforcement. You seen that we cut it up, and the reason we cut it up is we got to make room for the intercooler. I've already got the car pulled in, I got the bumper installed, and now I'm going to show you which intercooler that we're going to decide to go with. Be right back. Boy, yeah, look at that right now, boy. We got that eBay intercooler special, and let's go over why I decided to choose this intercooler. For one, it was like a hair over $100. For two, most importantly, is the dimensions. If you look at this bumper, I mean, the height of this bumper is not as tall as what it is on, like, let's say the Nissan 240. So we're limited on space. And then also the end tank locations were a big priority. So we got an intercooler that's 12 inches, aka 1 foot in height. End tank to end tank is roughly, I would say about 26 inches. And then it's roughly 3 inches thick. I chose the width of the intercooler for this one reason. Check this out. This is factory. There's an opening on passenger side of the radiator and also on the driver's side of the radiator. When I purchased this car, the intercooler actually already went through there, but from factory, the intercooler goes from the throttle body and then it snakes over and then it comes through this little hole right here in this fender well area. I'm gonna try to reduce the amount of piping needed. So I'm personally gonna run through that hole and I'm gonna run it through that hole. Let's go ahead and see if we can make some brackets for the intercooler first. All right, I think the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a measurement from this point to that point or make a template. And then I think I'm gonna transfer the template to this top section. I think I want to bolt that up possibly to the upper radiator support. So all I did was take this measurement from here to there, cut it in half, drew my line. Also did the same thing up here, took the half mark in between, made my middle mark, and then went from there. So we're gonna drill a hole here and here. All right, fam, that's what we're looking like so far with the bumper mounted up. You kind of go down, there is a little bit of hangover of the intercooler down below the front bumper. I may add a lip to it, but I think for now what I want to do is I want to push it back some. I want to kind of get it kind of close up that gap in the back. I mean, it should kind of suck it up a hair, but worst case scenario, we will guarantee put some kind of lip or something of some sort to kind of cover it up. This already came with a bracket, but I think I'm gonna make something else because we're gonna need a little bit more of an angle to match up to that. And to make that lower bracket for the intercooler, I'm gonna use, once again, some more material or backstock that I got from metal supermarkets. All right, I made my 2 bends. Got that roughly where I want it. So all I gotta do now is drill a hole here and mark where I want my hole to go for the intercooler. And then all I gotta do is duplicate this bracket. The holes that were already here for the previous intercooler, they were like a coarse thread. I know they were the wrong thread and it was all boogered up. So what I ended up doing is drilling both holes out. And I figured I'd share a little tip. I use this rib nut tool that I got off of Amazon, eBay, wherever I got it from. It was inexpensive. And the first time I drilled this hole out, I think it was like a 1/2-inch hole. I drilled it out and the hole was too big, meaning that when I compressed this tool to expand that rib nut, it was still kind of like loose. So what I said, you know what, let me try something. What I ended up doing is I grabbed a washer, and with that washer, it gave me a little bit more clamping force with these, and now that thing is up there super duper tweak. Figure I'll share that information because it helped me and it just might help you. All right, SpeedAddixXGarage, now that we got the intercooler done, the next item I would like to tackle is I would like to start on the cold side intercooler pipe. That's gonna be going from the intercooler to the throttle body. I also wanna show you which blow-off valve out of the 3 that I decided. But before I tackle that, we need to make sure that the 2.5-inch pipe will fit through this area. As you can tell, I already got a 90-degree silicone coupler on it. This is a 3-inch inlet and outlet intercooler. So what I ended up purchasing was a 3-inch to a 2.5-inch 90 reducer. Just need to make sure this opening is big enough. Make sure this is kind of out of the way. And then we can start on doing some fabricating. Wow, what we got here is the basic intercooler piping kit, 2.5 black couplers from eBay. Nothing special. This stuff is thin walled, it's bead roll on each end. We got plenty of clamps, 90s, straights, and 45s. And between the combination of all that, we are going to make a pipe that goes from this joint here to that joint down there. So let's go ahead and mock some stuff up. While we're cutting that 2.5-inch intercooler pipe, let me show you a new tool that I got. And matter of fact, we'll go ahead and use it while we're cutting this pipe. Oh yeah, cool, look what we got here. We got that daggone pipe bead forming tool. What is it? Check this out. This is something that I've been wanting for a minute or two. This right here is what you use to put a bead roll on the end of your intercooler pipe. So let me put it in the vise and we'll show you how it's done real quick. So if you don't even know, or if you don't know much about turbos and stuff, all this intercooler piping is under pressure, anywhere between whatever you're running from factory up to some cats like Boosted Boys running 50 pounds of boost. Most of your intercooler pipe comes with this flare end right here. This is actually what the bead roll is. This is what this tool is designed for. Since we already know the first pipe, you know, we're gonna run with this first little 45-degree pipe coming right off the throttle body. I wanna go ahead and bead roll this. Put it inside the tool, crank this down a little bit, like so. And all you do is keep it flush and rotate it. And we're basically gonna do this a couple of times. Then we're gonna tighten it down a little bit more. As we're rotating it, we're basically making sure that there's no gap down here. So I'm kind of like applying downward force. Depending on how aggressive you want this bead to be, will determine how many times you crank down on it. Loosen it up and check that out. Look at that daggone side profile bead. Tap mug got a hump on it, why? Like my wife's backside, why? And then when you go ahead to install it in your intercooler piping coupler, that mug pops into place like, just like that, why? So now we got that bottom section pipe coming through all the way through that hole. And as you can tell, it looks like we got somewhat of a gradual 45. So I'm gonna have to improvise and figure out a solution for this problem. So normally when you get a piping kit, there's always a handful of bends that you don't even care about or that you can't even hardly use. In my case, we got a U-bend. So the only thing we can use this for is cutting it in half or cutting down like a little slice of this piece right here. Normally when you cut in the bend, it's not actually the true diameter, but I want this side to be straight and untampered with so I can bead roll it. And then I want to use this side to weld to. We are going to attempt to cut it there, cut it here, and see if we can make this section work. All right, fam, this is my cut. It came out pretty good actually. I've already matched it up with the straight piece and everything looks good. This is gonna be the side that I'm gonna bevel. So now, we got to figure out where to cut this pipe. So a lot of time what I like to do is try to find like a good reference. So what I'm doing is putting this pipe alongside of it, and then I'm using this pinch weld or this little dot right here. Go to the other side. I know it's dark, but I got the same deal. Or I could just hold it up beside it and kind of eyeball it. But regardless, I've made a reference marker where I want to cut. I made it on the long side because of course you can't put metal back or material back if you have cut it too short. So we're gonna make this first cut and then we're gonna see how good we did. This opening right here is interfering with how I want to line everything up. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come through here and I'm gonna open up this bottom section and basically bring this right side all the way down. All right guys, before I tack up both of these pieces together, I wanted to bring to y'all attention, this is the stuff I've been looking for the whole time. Normally when I weld, my beads come out real grainy. My boy, I mean, he always come out, man. He come through for me. Mike Jones, we're gonna show him on the channel soon. He gave me this stuff here to try out. I tried it the other day and my welds went from looking all grainy to looking basically like the color of this, super duper shiny. It's a little on the thick side, so it's kind of hard to dab it and make it work. But I'm gonna still give it a shot because it's better. It's the best stuff I got right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and tack this stuff up, tape it up with some of my high temp paint or high temp tape. And then we're gonna fully weld it and get you just a few weld shots. Be right back. Check out the finished product. Snakes down, got plenty of clearance on both sides. Got it coming through right here, it's not touching anything. So now we got two more things to weld onto the intercooler pipe and cold side before we can wrap that up and go to the hot side. And if we don't go to the hot side, we'll go to something else. But let me show you the two items that we got to weld into place. We got our fake 50mm tile blow-off valve with the aluminum flange. So we need to figure out where at we want to put it. which is probably gonna be something like that. Then we have our aluminum bung for our GM style air intake temperature sensor. This bung came from Summit Racing. There's the part number. If you want to find it somewhere else, it's a 3/8 bung. So we also got to find a location on the pipe to weld this into place. Blow off valve location here. And then I want my air intake temp to be kind of on this back side, more in this general area. So we're gonna go ahead and take this pipe off, drill our holes, and then we can go ahead and tack everything, drill it further, open up that guy, weld it. So I've already got my hole cut out. So now we got to join these two together. And as you can tell, there's a gap. These flanges never fit right. So I'm probably gonna have to spend maybe 5 to 15 minutes on this thing to massage it, to get it fit up, and then we'll go ahead and weld it on up. All right, SpeedAddixxGarage, that's gonna wrap up the first, I guess, modifications that we've done to the DSM. Again, we mounted the front mount intercooler. We made custom cold side piping going from the inlet of the intercooler over to the throttle body. And then out of the 3 blow-off valves we had, we chose the 50mm knockoff towel. And then we also added our GM style air intake temperature sensor because we will be going to speed density. So hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Next episode, we're gonna do something fun. Check you later.